Sorry to keep going back to this. No, man, just spare me. Just spare me for a second. No, forget the matchup. Forget the matchup.
Yeah, no.
Like, to have a guy who's 135 pounds wet fight a 200-pounder, and somebody actually pay to put that on TV, that, because I think I still believe in, like, the entertainment side of it.
Yes.
That is just crazy to me. I never thought I would see that, right?
Okay.
So put the competitive. You're right.
You standing trial. Why ain't I see you round back when I was down?
What's up, world? It's your boy Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast, and I'm here one more again. You already know what it is, and I got my beautiful oldest daughter,
Rachel Renee.
Yeah, you're introducing yourself.
I am. I like it.
You like it? See, you can yeah. So today, man, we have a very, very special guest in the building, man. Legendary lineage, man. Iconic lineage. Good brother too. I'm getting to know. Hopefully we'll be doing some stuff in the future. Man, we have the legendary, iconic George Foreman III.
Thank you.
What's good, brother?
Pleasure to be here, man. Pleasure to be here, man. Glad to be with y'all.
Yeah, man. Yeah, appreciate you doing it, man, because I know you have a hectic schedule and we've been trying to do this, but I appreciate you making time.
Nah, no worries, man. Always excited to chat, and I love what you're doing, man.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you. I love your content too.
Thank you.
You know, I start following you and I'm like, yeah, I be seeing it. You be having me motivated because I'm usually the motivator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you
See you in the likes.
You see me in the likes?
I see you in the likes.
He's like, yeah, fucking right. Yeah, fuck it, let's go. You know what I mean?
And also, I know your audience too, so I'm like, if he could like it, or other people that follow you will see it
for sure.
Because I know the type of people you're trying to inspire.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. We were kind of speaking before we started, and I was touching on something, and I was saying how a lot of times in this space, I like to be very mindful of my guests, and you come from. I mean, you're the son of one of the most famous people, in the world, George Foreman, and that is, I'm sure it's got its perks, but like anything else, it could have its drawbacks, right? Yeah. But I wanted to be very mindful not to make the interview about your father, and I was going through kind of some of my thoughts and my notes. I'm like, damn, but it's so difficult because, a lot of your journey was with your father, but as you said to me, man, that was my best friend. Yep. So, hey, you ain't got to stray away from that. Yeah. So with that being said, I kind of just want to ask you, like, what was it like growing up with such an iconic father? And it reminds me of Rocky. Mm-hmm. You watch Rocky?
Yeah, of course.
So, maybe you might know where I'm going with this, where his son said, you just cast a big shadow, so like how has that journey been for you as was a kid growing up? I
mean, look, there was definitely a big shadow, right? But it didn't ever looking back on it, yeah, there was, but he never made it feel that way. And I think I give, my dad a lot of credit, but I also think I give him credit, but I also think he had the unique ability to be a star twice and come up and down, up and down, up. And because I think that gave him this context, and he also had children in both careers, like he met the president when he was 19 in 1968, and was a superstar because he was waving the flag, during the time when we were up against the Russians, that's what it was about. Look who won. We won. You kept trying to take all these, you kept trying to take the medals because everybody wants to beat the Americans because you can't box as good as us. Gotcha, Poland. Gotcha, Russia. Gotcha, right? And a lot of people thought the flag was about him waving the flag in 68 was about something else. It was about my buddies in that locker room crying. They dedicated their whole life to getting an Olympic medal, guys from Ohio, from Detroit, and you took it from them. Got you, right? So that's what he was thinking that it was all about, but it became a historical moment, and they really elevated him, the media and the government, because they were trying to show Russia we're winning in the Cold War. And so because of that, like I said, he was put in the spotlight really fast. Becomes champion and so on and so forth, has his first daughter when he was 21, and probably had three kids or so in the 70s, maybe four. 4 it was, my brothers and sisters, yeah. And so, but then got to be a father for 10 years and be like, I got to really get this right. And then get to be famous again and see what that's like. And I think he, when he made his comeback in 86, because you bankrupt, people taking money, he said he got everybody around the table and said, I'm going back to boxing. And he said something to the effect of, I'm going to be a good husband, and I'm going to take you guys with me. Something to that effect. I was so young. Like, I don't even barely remember this. But he talks about that. And my older brothers and sisters who do remember it talked about that he made it a point. And sure enough, I have never known my dad to be by himself my whole life, physically by himself. He might be in the room by himself. He may leave one house, get in the car sometimes, and drive 4 hours to his other house where there are people.
What's up, world? It's your boy, Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast, and I am the co-founder of the OG Network. And if you're enjoying this episode and you want to watch the full episode, then what I need you to do is go download the OG Network. Available on Roku, Google Play, Fire TV, and Apple Mobile. And again, if you liking this and you want to watch the full episode, because we're only giving you a little bit over here, go watch the full episode on OG Network. Go download the app now. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Salute.
From time to time. He's never by himself. Typically someone's with him. And so I think so then when he would travel to go do a commercial, whatever, he's taking as many people as he can with him, family, brothers and sisters. And then if he goes with his traveling companion, which is my cousin, a bodyguard, essentially, as his bodyguard and companion, if he gets done work at 7, he's on the plane by 10 and he is back home. If he fights, world championship, heavyweight championship of the world, the most watched boxing event ever at the time, except for the Rumble in the Jungle, when he was 46, almost 46, he's in church the next morning. If he has a charter jet, he will, but he'd prefer to fly commercial to bring some of that money back home.
Yeah.
And if he can't preach, he's got his glasses on and asking somebody to be there for him, but he's in church. And so I guess my point is he made us feel like we were the most important thing. And then he wasn't taking an extra day to enjoy himself. He wasn't going a day ahead to have dinner and do business meetings.
Right.
He's like, I'm here to work. I'm going to smile. I want to be with my family.
Yeah.
And so I go back and say, yes, there was a shadow, but it didn't feel like that.
Got you. So me kind of doing research too, but then knowing, your dad's history, but contrary to popular belief, you didn't grow up kind of rich, right? Because you kind of came around the downtime, the rebuilding, I should say, right? So you got to see the struggle, and then the come up again. Yeah. So what were the hard times like?
The hard times were interesting. So my mother and dad actually divorced when I was like 2-ish. And then when I was about 6, we moved to South Carolina briefly. And when I was about 6, and he, that was hard for him. He gave me his name, Monk. His nickname was Monk, Monkey, really. And
that's her nickname.
Really?
Yeah.
Monkey.
Yeah.
Her nickname is Monkey.
Can I just tell you a funny story?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So obviously, there was a time when that was a derogatory thing and all that. My dad, and I'll get back to that. My dad, he's born on a sharecropping farm. Brothers and sisters, as dark as my pants, like they're dark complected people, right? And I say that with love, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they're dark, like twice as dark as any of us if you put us all together. And the point of that is he had my grandma Nancy, she had a tryst with a guy that's about your complexion, actually, maybe a little lighter than you, from Texarkana. And he came down on the railroad with his good looks and a bigger paycheck than J.D. Foreman.
Right.
His name was Leroy Moorhead.
Okay.
And he wooed my grandma. He loved, he just loved my grandma, the way she looked and everything. And they really had a nice, thing. But it was a secret. My dad was born. And, I'm dark. So, when I was typically with darker skinned kids, often they're light when they're born, often, not always. And then there's a little darkness around their ears, and then they slowly fill in. So, when my dad was born, they were like, 3 days went by.
Yeah.
4 days went by. And remember Nancy, Grandma Nancy, she's, like I said, like a little darker than me. And they were like, something's going on here. And she was so embarrassed.
Yeah. Wow.
That they were even accusing her of, not at the time it would have been a negative thing. This is Marshall, Texas. Marshall, Texas is the last stronghold of the Confederacy. They call it the city of the 12 flags. When the Confederacy got backed into a corner, all the leaders went to Marshall, Texas. That's where we're from. And so they said that she had, had a child with a WHITE person. I don't like to call people by race and all that stuff. I don't believe in that. But so she's like, I got to get out of town. Now remember, they're sharecroppers.
Yeah.
So you can't just leave because you're in so much debt. You can't come from behind that. And like, it's a whole thing. So she snuck out of town from her husband and also anybody they would have owed. And then he loved her, JD Foreman, so much. And the other thing is JD, which becomes funny later, JD's like 5'6". He sneaks out because he still loves Nancy and they have other kids together. They keep it a secret. And there's a picture, I can send it to you, from my dad's book. And of him and his brothers and sisters. He's now heavyweight champion of the world, muscle bound, light complected. They're all darker complected and about 5'7".
Yeah.
And he's 6'4". Like the sheep and the lion, you know?
Yeah.
And he has no clue.
Wow.
27 years old.
Oh, wow.
Marshall, Texas is 30 minutes from Texarkana. And his dad is there the whole time and keeps his mouth shut. And the saddest part is apparently he was checking in. He'd get drunk and watch him fight on TV and say, my boy's going to kill him and all that. But he respected Nancy so much, he never violated.
Yeah.
And so finally, when my dad was 27, he found out, someone spilled the beans and he found his dad and he met his dad and he looked in the back seat and his dad said, oh, those are your sisters, by the way. And my dad said, that'll never happen to me in that moment. He was so disgusted that he's like, I'm the most famous athlete in the world right now, him and Ali, highest paid ever.
Right.
And they won't even reach out to ask me for a loan. I'm 30 minutes away. He had a ranch in Marshall, Texas at the time. He went back and so he named us all George. And so, but the point is like that, what did I bring that up for? Hold on. You asked me something. Why did I get on that tangent? What was the question you asked me?
Damn. It was
No, the story's so
I
good.
know, right?
I'm like,
Right. It was it was a nickname. Monkey.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So sorry.
You know.
So that's the story. That's also why he named us all George. This is a whole nother answer. But so during that time before he knew, when he was a kid, 2 years old, 5 years old, they called him every name in the book because they knew he wasn't, didn't have the same father. They knew that's why JD beat Nancy and would drink and they find him in the ditch. And so Nancy would whip him. And he got filled with rage. They called him Monkey. That was like the last nickname because Monkey was kind of like, you're not one of us, Monkey.
Yeah.
So much so that everybody in the street knew him as Monkey or Monk.
Yeah.
Because if you're nervous about him, you just, hey, Monk.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would tax people to walk across the street. You have to pay a tax or else.
I heard about that.
So he goes to the Olympics and he's coming back and now he's a big star because of the flag. And he tells the sports reporters, hey, listen, when you put my name in there, don't just put George Foreman, put George Monkey Foreman. Because he's like, otherwise when I go home back to the hood, like no one's gonna know who I am.
They're not going.
And so that's like, it's a real important name in my family. And so my aunt was like, you're Monkey, I'm gonna still call you Monkey, and she called me Monk. So
That's dope. That's dope.
now there's three of us.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because my family's the same way. You're George the third.
Yeah.
I'm actually Courtney the second.
Really?
My son is Courtney the third. And then my daughter out here is Courtney as well.
Really?
Remy.
That's
yeah.
hot, man.
Courtney,
That's
Remy, Rachel. Yeah. So we all share. And it's kind of our George Foreman thing as well.
Sense of lineage,
How do you
man.
guys differentiate the Georges?
Just the nicknames. I think if we're in the airport and you say, hey, George, we'll all turn around. If we're at school, we'll all turn around because like our brain clicks like, oh, at school I answer to George.
Yes.
At home, no one ever calls us George. Having said that, my older brother, we do call him Little George. And then, or Junior, they call me Monk. And then below me is Big Wheel because my dad's grandfather, Nancy's father, was Will and he was big. Then there's Red, who was supposed to be the last child, stop sign. And then Joe, I always say we ran out of creativity, but he was named after an uncle that never had children.
Okay.
And then there's Georgetta. And then there's Frida George. And then there's, who else? There's Leola, who was named after the person who named my dad George, his aunt. And then the other two got away.
Okay.
They got
and
the regular
there's
names.
another, if I'm not mistaken,
Natalie Amici.
and correct me if I'm wrong, there's a George Foreman. You have a brother that had a situation in D.C. Is that your brother?
Oh, you mean that's running for office or no?
No. It was a George Foreman that caught some kind of murder case or something.
No.
That's not connected.
No, that's actually interesting though.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So
Yeah, okay.
yes. Okay, I'm glad because my brother's running for Congress right now. That's
Okay.
what I said. So there's that I've heard about, and that I think they just made their name that. But then there's another guy who who was actually pretending to be me.
What?
Which it's funny. I don't care. He was going to Clark. No, was it Clark or what is it at HBCU in Atlanta? There's is it Clark?
Morehouse.
Morehouse.
Clark. Yeah.
And Clark has boys
Spelman.
and girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was at Clark. And I was in college at the time, and they were like, yo, we just saw you and we didn't know you go to Clark. I'm like, no, I don't. And then they were like, well, this guy just said his name is George Foreman III. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah. And then he put his head down and kind of high, like, yeah, it's me.
Wow.
And I heard about him multiple times, but that is true. But they're not related to us.
That's crazy.
Okay.
I asked them for a loan, though. It'd be nice.
You know what? Your dad was one of my favorite heavyweights. I grew up watching heavyweight boxing, and I don't know what the hell's happened to heavyweight boxing, but we can get into that.
Yeah.
And per his, him telling his story, and I watched the movie as well, the recent one, great movie. He was in his earlier years very aggressive, very mean per his own admission.
Yeah.
Did you inherit any of that temperament? He came to the door. I made the call. That's what I do.
You should have called me first.
Look, don't start.
We have a protocol for a reason.
Kayla, listen. The protocol exists for the field. This was our front door. She's gonna find out about everything.
I know.
So what we gonna do?
I don't know.
You get your damn daughter.
It's me. I need a clean team.
Yeah, I did. I did inherit some of my dad's temperament, but in a very different way. Like, I feel like I was raised with a lot of confidence. I don't know. Not in the presence of my dad. He's always the alpha dog. But I just feel like when I say confidence, like the healthy amount where I don't have a chip on my shoulder wanting to hurt people because they're looking at me, right? Whereas him, like, there was a lot of rage because, he felt at an early age that his mom was spanking him and yelling at him because, I don't know, and then later on, when he confronted his mom, he said, Mom, like, why didn't you ever tell me I had a different father?
Right.
He said, is this true? Because his sister spilled the beans. He says, is this true? All this time, you didn't tell me my dad? She goes, why do you think JD drinks? And so you have that weight growing up of, I love my mom to death, but I'm always getting in trouble. And, a lot of families go through this apparently.
He's being treated indifferently.
Or when they don't like the father, it's like you're a reflection of the father and they get you.
Yep.
And so, and the person he loved, and then the brothers and sisters not accepting him, right? And all this is in his book. So then he builds this tough exterior. I'm the enforcer, and this is the truth. And I hate to give you a long answer, but the truth is sometimes fun. So he would go around, and he wasn't fast, but he was strong. And so if you watch the way he would fight in the 70s, he would get an angle on somebody where instead of being here, their shoulder would be here. He'd like force them where they tried to get away, and then as soon as they turned their shoulder this way, where their face is this way and his face is this way.
Haymaker.
Yeah.
Hard as
haymaker.
you can.
Yeah.
Because in that angle, you can swing as hard as you can and they can't hit you at the same time. You're safe. So you can just drop your hands and go reckless. And it's actually it's really like a higher level of thinking for strategy. But the point is, he figured out in the streets. He'd walk up to the guy sideways and say, hey man, can I get a cigarette? And he said, if I could just get them to look down. And then they run still take everything out of their pockets, and then he'd have to hold them down. But he was like, I hope that they'd be knocked out, because then if they weren't, I'd have to beat them up.
Right.
And he didn't want to do that, which is a weird form of compassion. And then he said straight up, he said he could remember them screaming, and like, this is who he was at 14, 15, 16. And so apparently they had robbed the wrong person one night, and he had a friend that always looked after him, Jean. She's OG. I mean, I don't know. Like, I hate to speak street terms. I'm not from the street, but she was the OG, you know? Like, no one messed with Jean, and she could protect you. And then became a nun, by the way. I knew her to her that day. But there's a guy named Ikibu, and he pulled up on him in the street in the dark, and right not far from Gene's house, and he just pressed a knife against his back, and he said, "I heard you were looking for me." Because everybody kept saying what Ikibu was going to do for him, Icky, for messing with his friend and stealing him. He was like, when I see him, I'll do this. And I ain't worried about him. He said, put that knife in. He said, I heard you were looking for me. My dad said, and he thought to himself, he says, my mom always said, better there he goes versus there he lies. He said, in that moment, he said, nah, man, I wasn't looking for you. He said, okay. He pulled the knife away.
Yeah.
So he said, he couldn't get over it. He couldn't get over it. He couldn't get over it. And that was the rage you were seeing in the ring. From then on, he was like, I'm not a man.
Yeah.
And it sounds petty. It sounds small.
But as a man, you understand that. Yeah. You understand that. Yeah. Because I know it was a guy named Doug in my neighborhood that was about 5 or 6 years older than me. And when I was about 10, 11, he tried to take my bike from me. When we got grown, I remembered. I don't think he did, but I did. You know what I mean? So I kind of was like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, what's up with you, bro? You know what I mean? You don't remember me? You know? He like, no.
Nah, man.
Like, yeah, you tried to take my bike.
My mongoose.
You know, yeah. He's trying to take my mongoose. I felt some kind, you know, I wanted my get back, right? You know, try to take something now. You know, that's what I'm on.
And then when people do it to him, he'd be like,
yeah.
what do you want me to do?
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. So, you know, I actually had somebody, I hate to say it, I had to say there was somebody that hit me. At this time, I guess I was the perpetrator. And was like, yeah, man, I got shot in the early 2000s and somebody said it was you. I was like, I don't think so. But if I did, all I could say is I'm sorry now. That's what I told him. All I could do is say I'm sorry at this point. You know?
And he told me like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I was like, what do you want me to do? 2000. Sorry?
Yeah.
Like,
you want to hug?
You still here. Like, what the fuck? Walk it off. Walk it off. That's a true story though.
Yes.
But I understand that. Man, that's a man thing. That's a man thing. Go ahead.
So to clean, because I want to make sure I answer the question. So I had a different type of trigger, you know, and for me, and I didn't recognize until I was older because I became so, and so anyway, he was protecting himself, you know. My dad's actually a sensitive dude, a musician, writes music, read it, trumpet, guitar, little sax, little piano, and can sing. Oh wow! 7 out of 10. 7 of my 10 brothers and sisters are musicians, right? And so that was just a sensitive kid protecting himself, and it felt like, you know. And so for me, while I do have some of that, it's more about protecting people. You can abuse me to the end of this world. Yeah, you mess with one of my friends, we're gonna have a problem. And I am working on that. I know that's not.
I'm guilty of it too, bro.
You know what I'm
Most
saying?
of the fights that I got in as a kid were protecting other people. Weren't even my fights. You know, I despise bullies and I despise people that prey on the weak or prey on people that, you know, because it was kind of like dude in Don't Be a Menace when he was like, he don't want a problem, but I do. You know, that's how I was. Like, he don't want a problem, but I do. You know, so I got in some fights taking up, most of them taking up for people. So I have that very protective spirit as well. And I think that's just, I think most real men, you know, alphas are going to be like that. I'm kind of the same way. Like, you can kind of get some shit off with me, but when you start messing with others, it's like, okay, from zero to prison real quick. You know, from zero to prison real quick. So, but you growing up, now you went to military school, right? What was that a result of, or did someone just want you to go?
Nah, man. Actually, let me just do it.
And I think where I'm getting at, George, just being 100, you are very laid back, you know, and you're like a gentle giant. But I can see it. I can read it. Behind this gentleness, there's a thing, you know, like fucking Jason or something behind this. You know what I mean? It's like Jason behind this, you know. So that's where I'm getting at. I guess I'm just.
You said there's a little bit of Jason.
A little bit of, you know, I can see it. I can sense it. You know what I mean? Like, damn, bro, cool. But I don't know, like he
like
one
Sleeping
situation
Bear,
away from
right.
snapping. You know what I mean? But so that's why I'm asking about the temperament. Was there something that in your childhood where you was beaten? How'd you get in military school?
Yes. Well, first of all, it wasn't that, but it was the Jason thing. I don't know what it comes from, man, but I will tell you. And a lot of people don't understand this. And I'm, like I said, I'm working on it, right? Because when you know what's underneath the fold, you don't want it. When you really know, you just, I don't want it. I don't want any part of it. And I've been fortunate enough to like slide, get out, stay out of stuff for the most part. But I've seen it. And you just don't want it if you know, you know?
Yeah.
And if it's not uncontrollable and if it's not out of a place of like severe insecurity, you definitely don't want it, right? Because like getting physical should only be for utility and defense, right? I really believe that. And that's probably because I'm a boxing coach by trade. Like that's what I've been doing for 20 years. And so, so most of the time, like if I'm talking to somebody and they're coming at me or whatever, or messing with somebody I love, every ounce of hey man, all that is just trying to protect them from me.
Exactly. Facts.
And I make a habit of it and it's who I am. And so what I've noticed is people tend to, and I'm sure you can relate, is people see it as, oh, he's nice. He's soft, or I can push him. And I'm like, no, please don't.
No,
please.
exactly.
I'm trying so
have an
hard.
I'm trying
untrained
so
eye.
hard. Yeah.
Because I don't want to be a part of what can happen.
Exactly.
And that's not like me trying to be macho. It's just the truth.
It's just the truth. Yeah. I have to think about her. I think about her siblings. I think about my wife. You know, I'm kind of like, damn. You know, and then I'm getting older. I don't got that time to give, you know, like start doing the math. Like, damn, okay, I'll be 65 fucking with you when I get out. Like, you know, let me walk away, you know, that's a fact.
That's that. And so like, I don't know where the thing you're talking about, I don't know where that comes from, but I don't know, man.
Have you heard it before though? Have you heard someone say that about you?
You know
before?
who I heard the first person who said that is my dad.
Okay.
Someone was saying, Monk's so nice and he's so
it's a trained eye.
this and that,
It's a trained
blah, blah,
eye.
blah. And I've heard it. He said it 3 times in my life. He said, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Don't let him fool you. So long story short, for some reason I've been like that, but my mom raised me, I give her a lot of credit. She raised me with a lot of spirituality. She had me meditating when I was 6.
Oh, nice.
And teaching me about all different types of religions. Like I'm a Christian still, but like I got exposed to a lot of, you know, people doing breath work and meditation. I've been doing that literally since I was 6.
Wow.
Every day, religiously.
See, she saw the Jason in you early.
That's what it was.
Right.
She saw the Jason in you
Right, she's
early.
like, we're supposed to start
She was
regulating
like, okay,
now.
you know what? Let's put some candles up in here. We got to get this
Incense.
Incense, yeah, sage and some other shit. Just center, son.
You have big emotions.
Center, son.
We're going to make them
Yeah.
small.
So you're right. I guess so. I got to talk to her about that. But I think that was what tamed the tiger or the lion or whatever. Having said that, the reason I went to military school, believe it or not, was at an early age, I was a musician, honestly. I was playing the sax. I wanted to learn to play piano. I was not good at team sports. They'd put me on because I was big and could do drills, but I couldn't. And one-on-one stuff was better for me. But
I was going to say, you said team sports. I'm like,
yeah,
were there other sports?
I couldn't run plays. I get freaked out.
Okay.
For some reason, it was really like
me too.
I have a problem
That's
with it.
crazy. Me too. In basketball, fucking right. Yeah.
I can do one-on-one all day though.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, but long story short, I was really into extracurriculars. And so my dad, my mom, they were still separated. I lived around the corner from him. He was like, I don't have time because he's Sports Illustrated athlete of the world at the time or that year. My mom was working a job, 2 jobs, trying to keep the lights on. And he didn't want to just feed money. He just never liked that. He's very much like, I'm going to support everybody, but I'm not just going to be throwing money at it.
Right.
But he was like, agree to disagree on how we're going to do this. How about boarding school? And he brought it up, and then a year had went by, and I was like, hey, what about that boarding school idea? Because like, there's not enough hands to go around for all the stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
And I always got really good grades. And he was like, you're not serious. He's like, if you really want to go to boarding school, you'll show up at my house with your bags packed. And I did it. And he had a doorstep past our actual doorstep for his room. And I like put my bag there. So long story short, I went to boarding school when I was 12 at a place called Fay School in Massachusetts. And he brought me up there. He had just finished winning his title. And we hugged it out. And he was like, you sure you want to stay? I was like, yep. didn't cry, and it just was a fit for me.
Okay.
And then along the way, I wanted to be a pilot. So now I'm going to be a musician, and I'm playing sports and writing and all this little, whatever, poetry. That was my thing, like a weirdo. I should say that. And I wanted to be a pilot. And so then I was like, I want to get into the Air Force Academy. And then I found a military school. It was the only boarding school with an airport. So I went there for the summer. They had an aviation program. I solo when I was 15, which means you go up and come down by yourself. And I was like, I want to stay here. And it happened to be a military school. And I was like, I'll just suck it up. Because no other boarding school at an airport. And so I stayed there for about a year, went to the Air Force Academy, got through their recruiting program. They're like, if you're here, you will get in if you want to. And then they told me my sitting height was such that I won't fly fighter jets. I'll be last in place and I have to sign a waiver and all this stuff. I was like, I'm not doing this for another 8 years just to if I can't find the planes I want, which I'm kind of embarrassed about. But that's why I was at military school.
Okay.
And so that's that. And but it wasn't because of getting in trouble. However, my dad told me at a young age, I was fighting a little bit in like first grade, and I got into a big fight. They pulled my arms behind me. A bunch of guys teamed up on me and beat me up first grade, whatever. And I come home and my dad looked at me and he said, look, we're not going to be fighting in school. You're right. He saw that. He said, we're not going to do that. And he said, if you want to fight somebody in school, then you can just come fight me when you get home.
Damn.
Well, no.
Okay.
I swear. And so in those moments, I kept thinking, I don't want to fight that guy.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, man.
Yeah.
And that's what kept me out of most of the trouble.
Okay.
In school, at least,
being afraid of dad. No, that's why dads are important. That's why you need
So you can
dads.
fight me.
He seems so practical in a way. Like,
that?
it's like he seems like he had a very nice practicality about him. Like, he would always meet you halfway. Like, you show me this, then I'll go with you. I'll rock with you till the wheels fall off. That's cool.
That's true. It was like that. I think the Bible had a lot to do with it. You read that.
Growing
I
up
think it's the Bible.
in the 80s, and your dad, I think he came back to boxing, correct? In the 80s,
right.
when you were younger. And on his way, he took some L's. So you as a kid watching that, how would that make you feel to see
Losses? Man.
To see Big George take them hits and because you know what that's like after 2 when you get home. What was the feeling as a kid to watch dad take those losses?
Yeah, so the first time I realized my dad was what you would call a celebrity, I was like 7, and I was playing at my friend's house, and they were like, I heard some guys, oh, your dad's on TV. Dad's on TV? Because this is how he was. Like I said, he didn't make a big deal of it. I was like, oh, and he was fighting Jerry Cooney, and he won that night. And that was the first time I realized what he's actually doing. Because on his comeback trail, he would fight off TV to get it together. He didn't want to fight on TV until he was sharp. And so, so the first time he took a L that I remember was when he fought. Period in my lifetime was when he fought Evander Holyfield. And so, from our perspective, so a lot of people don't know when my dad was making his comeback. It's a great business story. He rounded up a bunch of guys and said, "I need $50,000 each, 10 of you, it's $500,000, and this is the right way to build a fighter, which is why there's not enough great fighters anymore. And I want to promote my own events, right? Find people that I can fight that will prepare me." The right style and everything, and will present a challenge, but not so much that I'll mess up the title shot because I know I can get there, and go to towns where we can spend money in advertising and put ads and let's really build this sports property. And they were like, well, do you have an Amex? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, what's your credit score? He's like, guys, I know how to do this. I haven't been drinking, smoking. I'm 36. I still got it. And they're like, we don't see it, Yeah. And so he kept trying to convince him to invest in him, right? And these are very wealthy people. And he was giving him 50% of all his future earnings. Period. Everything.
In perpetuity?
Yes.
Oh, shit. That's crazy.
Because our ranch was, I think that was his last thing. And he had taken a loan on the ranch, right? That was the last thing he had. And which means if we couldn't make the payments, he would lose the ranch, and then he would lose the youth center. And he was bankrupt. He's on paper bankrupt. And so, long story short, they were going to take $300,000. That was the number, and that was going to be it if he didn't make the payments. And so, long story short, they said no. No, sorry. He went back into the dressing room. I'm sorry. He went into the then he went into the restroom, sat with himself, collected himself. He thought about it, and he walked back out and he said, "Deal's off. It's off the table." Out of pride. 50% of everything. So he takes his little money and just like, I got to go now. Let's go.
Yeah.
And he starts promoting these fights right away. And he's fighting for 2,000, 1,000, 1,500, fighting in all these towns where specifically where there's no big college team and definitely no sports teams, because when you go into those towns, you are the biggest deal.
Right.
And he said, because someone had taught him in the old days, a guy that used to manage Sunday Listen, he said, you have to build your own fan base. And then when you go on TV, they're going to see those numbers and they have to pay you because those are your fans, not the promoter's fans. So he did 20 fights in 2 years. Maybe if it wasn't 2 years, it was 26 months, right? 20 fights. And so then he starts fighting on TV. And we're watching all this and we're driving around in a passenger van and government cheese, like blocks of cheese and whatever, just like whatever he could scrounge up. We had family members getting their government stuff because he had 10 kids, you know what I mean? And bringing it over to my mom and spreading it out. And we never forgot that. And so it was tough times. And so finally it comes around, he gets to fight Jared Cooney. And by the way, child support, all types of stuff. And he gets paid $1 million. Save the ranch.
What's up, world? It's your boy, Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast, and I am the co-founder of the OG Network. And if you're enjoying this episode and you want to watch the full episode, then what I need you to do is go download the OG Network. Available on Roku, Google Play, Fire TV, and Apple Mobile. And again, if you liking this and you want to watch the full episode, because we only giving you a little bit over here, go watch the full episode on OG Network. Go download the app now. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Salute.